Hello, everyone. Yesterday, we analyzed and discussed a major weakness of the anti-Xi elders, their persistent adherence to achieving a smooth and lawful power transition, which paradoxically hands Xi Jinping a significant advantage. This puts the elders in a precarious position, caught between striking the rat and preserving the vase, forcing them into self-censorship and tying their own hands. For Zhang Youxia, whose situation is the most perilous and life-threatening, he likely has no choice but to prepare for the worst-case scenario. For him, the only opportunity to eliminate future threats lies at the fourth plenary session, as he has no leverage to tolerate Xi Jinping remaining in power until the 21st Party Congress. Overnight, an explosive piece of news emerged. We don't know if Zhang Youxia has formulated his final plan, but sources now reveal that the anti-Xi elders, represented by Hu Jintao, Wen Jiabao, and Wang Yang, have devised an emergency plan for the worst-case scenario. The core of this plan revolves around the Li Keqiang case, and its execution would be nothing short of eye-opening. If the fourth plenary session spirals out of control and Xi reneges again, the elders will turn the session into a party-wide denunciation of Xi Jinping. Today is October 4th, Easter time. I'm Tang Jingyuan. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. A historic moment is approaching, and together, let's cut through the fog and watch the drama unfold. The fourth plenary session will be the first and most critical window to observe whether Xi Jinping will step down. Multiple sources have indicated that she is likely to resign voluntarily at this meeting, citing health reasons. However, an obvious problem is that she has a track record of breaking promises, flipping faster than turning a page. If she stages a strong resistance at the session, refusing to resign, or even launching a counterattack by demanding the Central Committee pass a resolution to curb elder interference, how will Hu and Wen control the situation? After all, over 70% of the 205 Central Committee members are Xi loyalists. While individuals can be easily swayed by the anti-Xi faction in normal circumstances, once gathered at the session, these members, driven by self-preservation, may hesitate to support Hu and Wen over Xi in a critical moment of upheaval. After all, elders like Hu Wen, Wang, and Li are not even eligible to attend the fourth plenary session formally. At best, they can only sit in as observers, and under normal circumstances, it's uncertain whether they'd even get a chance to speak. If this extreme scenario unfolds, Hu, Wen, and Zhang would face two options. 1. Follow procedure, with Hu Qinhu and others immediately proposing a motion to remove Xi Jinping. While this would be messy and fail to meet the expectation of a harmonious and united transition, it would at least be a lawful seizure of power. 2. Disregard procedure entirely. Have the military take control of the venue, issue a resignation statement on Xi's behalf afterward, and send him to recover at 301 Hospital, effectively making him disappear from public life. The revelation we mentioned earlier aligns with the first option and comes from a source called Ordinary People Behind the Wall. We'll summarize the key points of this information, share them with you, and then discuss their authenticity and plausibility. The revelation first notes that Hu, Wen, and Zhang have indeed accounted for the possibility of Xi reneging at the last moment and have prepared an emergency plan to force Xi to stick to the original script or face severe consequences. What consequences? What follows is a multi-pronged kill strategy. First, Hu Qinhu, as a Central Committee member, will propose a motion to launch a full investigation into Li Keqiang's sudden death. This is not baseless. Li Keqiang's death was a political assassination ordered by Xi Jinping, and the relevant evidence and witnesses have already been secured by the top-level resolution investigation agency. This is Xi's Achilles heel. The issue was previously shelved because the elders, prioritizing the broader goal of power transition, believed that airing such dirty laundry would be unwise. If exposed, the fact that the General Secretary assassinated the Premier would not only humiliate the Communist Party globally, but also jeopardize its ability to maintain its grip on power. However, if she goes all in and takes a desperate stand, the elders can no longer play the lawful transition game. They'll have to tear off the masks and engage in a bare-knuckle brawl. Why choose the Li Keqiang case as the breakthrough? Because Li Keqiang, as the party's number 2, had no common official vices like corruption or personal scandals. His only crime was holding differing political views from Xi, which led to his heart attack death. If such a case isn't pursued, everyone in the party will feel unsafe and no one will be secure. The purpose of this motion is to remind the Central Committee members in attendance that if Xi isn't taken down, anyone could be the next Li Keqiang. This seeks the greatest common ground. As the designated figurehead, Hu Chunhui will fire the opening shot, followed by a series of high-level follow-ups. Standing Committee member Zhao Leji, Ding Xuexiang, and Li Shi will propose investigations into Xi's illegal constitutional amendments for extended rule, violation of established term-limit political norms, and the unexplained sources of his family's vast wealth. Then, Chun Jining, Shi Taifeng, and Yuan Zhejun will report to the plenary session on how she engaged in factionalism, built a personal empire, and severely undermined the party's cadre appointment and promotion principles. Wang Huning, who jumped ship early and publicly distanced himself from Xi by standing with hands behind his back in front of CCTV cameras, will report to the session on Xi's cult of personality, his intent to rule for life, and his severe violation of the party's collective leadership principles. Naturally, the second-ranking standing committee member Li Chang and the first vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, Zhang Youxia, will not stand idly by. Li Chang will report to the session on how she undermined government functions, abused power, caused a severe economic downturn, and jeopardized the party's governing foundation. Zhang Youxia will report on how she used his wife to control the military, appointed unqualified loyalists to oversee it, and purged numerous generals under the guise of anti-corruption, severely damaging the military's combat effectiveness. After this series of bombshell speeches, Hu Chunhui will formally propose suspending all of Xi Jinping's duties. The Central Committee will then nominate Wang Yang to act as interim general secretary and have the Resolution Investigation Agency manage central functions during the transition period until the 21st Party Congress formally selects a new general secretary and leadership team through collective consultation. Simultaneously, the Central Committee will authorize Zhang Youxia to temporarily act as chairman of the Central Military Commission until the 21st Party Congress elects a new chairman. The position of state president will also be temporarily filled by Wang Yang until the National People's Congress next year formally selects a new candidate. Xi Jinping himself, along with his close confidants like Kai Chi, He Lifeng, Wang Xiaohong, and Peng Liyuan, will be placed under Shuangui disciplinary investigation, required to address relevant issues at designated times and locations. Regarding Xi's alleged anti-party and disruptive actions, a special investigation team will be formed, led by one Jiabao, with Hu Chunhui as executive deputy leader and Wang Yang and Zhang Youxia as deputy leaders. This team is expected to conclude its investigation within 2 years, before the 21st Party Congress, and report its findings to the entire party at that time. According to the revelation, to ensure the 4th plenary session proceeds flawlessly, Liu Zhenli is currently commanding the 82nd Group Army to tightly control security in Beijing and Zhongnanhai. Zhang Xingmin has mobilized the Military Discipline Inspection Commission to control Defense Minister Dong Jun, Chen Wenxing, Chen Yixin, and other key figures in the political and legal system, ensuring Xi's loyalists cannot resort to force. Meanwhile, Zhang Youxia has ordered all military regions to cancel leaves and enter first-level combat readiness, with no one allowed to leave their posts without authorization. It's not hard to imagine that any remaining Xi loyalists in the military are likely under close surveillance to prevent any disruptions. I must remind our viewers that under the Communist Party's tightly controlled black box political system, any revelation, regardless of the source, may only reveal part of the picture and could mix truth with falsehood, limited by time and context. Personally, I approach such insider revelations with a critical and referential attitude. I neither dismiss them outright nor accept them wholesale. Instead, I cross-reference multiple sources, verify information, and combine it with my own analysis to draw conclusions. The information we just shared has several characteristics. 1. The entire plan hinges on Li Keqiang's sudden death as the starting point and breakthrough to achieve maximum consensus among Central Committee members. 2. If this scenario plays out, the fourth plenary session will undoubtedly become a denunciation session targeting Xi Jinping and his loyalists, with the so-called 15th five-year plan inevitably sidelined. The focus will shift entirely to power transfer, prioritizing political stability over economic issues. 3. According to the revelation, among the standing committee members, only Kai Chi has not distanced himself from Xi, and among Politburo members, He Lifeng and Wang Xiaohong have not either. The revelation doesn't specify why they haven't cut ties, whether it's unwillingness or inability, but I personally suspect inability is more likely. What does this mean? On one hand, these individuals are Xi's most loyal confidants, deeply involved in nearly all his decisions, making it difficult for them to distance themselves. Even if they did, the anti-Xi faction likely wouldn't trust them. More importantly, if the fourth plenary session reaches a point of no return and the anti-Xi faction uses the Li Keqiang case as the lever to topple Xi, all those involved in the case cannot escape accountability. Thus, the primary reason Kai Chi and others cannot cut ties is likely their involvement in the Li Keqiang case, including Peng Liyuan. Their only path to self-preservation is to hope she resigns voluntarily, securing at least a promise of leniency. Now, let's address a key question. Is this revelation credible? First, I believe the information largely aligns with the operational norms of the Communist Party. The content of the denunciation speeches and the individuals involved, such as Li Xi addressing Xi's economic corruption, Zhao Leji addressing term limit violations, Wang Huning addressing the cult of personality and Xi's deification, and Zhang Youxia addressing military mismanagement, are all within their respective domains of responsibility. This is indeed how the party conducts denunciation sessions, with a similar scale and procedure. Additionally, appointing Hu Chunhu as the executive deputy leader of the Li Keqiang investigation team, while interim General Secretary Wang Yang serves only as a deputy leader, may seem odd to some. However, this arrangement aligns with the party's logic, as Hu Chunhu is designated to initiate the investigation motion, naturally making him the lead investigator. Moreover, preventing Kai Chi and others from cutting ties is a brilliant move. It effectively severs Xi's closest allies. If she hopes to reverse the situation at the fourth plenary session, he would rely heavily on Kai Chi and his confidants. Now, for their own survival, these allies might jointly persuade Xi to cooperate with a voluntary resignation. Without them, Xi is just one man, unlikely to stir significant trouble. Overall, from a logical and rational perspective, this revelation holds together. The only issue is that its foundation rests on Li Keqiang's death being a confirmed assassination, with the anti-Xi faction possessing irrefutable evidence. If this premise is false, if Li Keqiang died of a genuine heart attack, then this is merely a plausible, well-crafted story. From another angle, I'm inclined to view this revelation as a proposal from an informed insider rather than a confirmed plan by Hu, Wan, and Wang. In other words, it may not be their actual plan, but a suggested approach by someone within the system to address the worst-case scenario of Xi's defiance. This approach is viable, provided the anti-Xi faction has concrete evidence of Xi's role in Li Keqiang's assassination. However, this may not be the final plan. The ultimate plan, if the denunciation session fails to subdue Xi, would likely involve no procedures, no polite criticisms, just the military stepping in, with the general secretary emerging from the barrel of the gun. This is the party's true nature, unapologetic and raw. We've seen how Kim Jong-un handled Zhang Songfake's execution, soldiers dragging him out of a meeting, leaving the rest to imagine whether it was by firing squad or worse. The Communist Party, when ruthless, would only go further. To emphasize, rather than treating this as a revelation, it's better seen as an insider's exported then re-import proposal. Whether the Li Keqiang case can truly become the fatal blow to Xi remains unconfirmed, but the logic of this approach is sound. To prevent Xi from reneging at the last moment, the controllers must hold a trump card, a lethal strike against him. While 70% of Central Committee members are Xi loyalists, few are truly die-hard supporters. Most are opportunists who follow the wind. If the anti-Xi faction demonstrates overwhelming resolve and control of the military, even those inclined to support Xi would likely stay silent. However, if the elders are overly cautious, prioritizing harmony and fearing Xi might flip the table and smash the vase, unexpected chaos could arise. Finally, regarding other online revelations, I've seen at least 2 versions of supposed high-level party joint letters circulating today. Based on their content, I'm fairly certain they're fabricated, as the language and phrasing are characteristic of outsiders, not party insiders. In the Communist Party system, joint letters are typically used by subordinates to petition superiors. True power brokers wouldn't rely on such methods to rally support. They'd simply brandish the gun and the knife, holding one-on-one talks to secure commitments. Lastly, a thought-provoking update. U.S. Ambassador to China David Perdue stated yesterday that the Trump administration has told the Communist Party, "We don't want any coercion, but we hope for a peaceful resolution of the Taiwan issue." He also noted that a face-to-face meeting between Trump and Xi is unlikely to happen before next year. This suggests that at the APEC summit in late October, Trump may not even meet with Xi. Why? I'll let you ponder that.